Welcome back to another exciting edition of Mrs. Sharp's class. Today we're going to talk about writing in scientific notation. So we started with reading scientific notation. That is, we looked at numbers that were written in scientific notation and we wrote them in standard form so that we could understand what it meant. So now we're going to go in the other direction. We're going to take those very large numbers and we're going to translate them to scientific notation. But we're going to start with a little bit of a video.
Is the Earth big or small? Sounds like a pretty silly question, huh? Looking at it from our point of view, the Earth is gigantic. But astronauts get to see it from a different perspective. To try to get some perspective without going to space, we can look at it like this. The volume of the Earth is about 7/10 millionths times smaller than the volume of the Sun. Okay, that's pretty small, and it's quite a mouthful. How can you express the Earth's volume in comparison to the Sun's in a way that is easier to work with? This is where scientific notation comes in really handy. In this lesson, you'll learn how to use scientific notation to express this type of relationship.
All right, science. Go ahead and pause, add this to your table of contents, start a new page, and write down our EQ. All right, so a lot of steps here, just warning you. First of all, step one, we're going to move the decimal point to the right of the first non-zero digit. Because remember, scientific notation means the factor, the number that it starts with, has to be greater than 1 but less than 10. So that means we're going to take the decimal and we're going to put it to the right of the first non-zero digit. Go ahead and pause whenever you need to copy down these steps. Step 2 is we're going to count how many places we moved and to find our power of 10. So in this example, we moved 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 spaces in order to get that decimal next to the first non-zero digit. And since this is a big number, we know it's a positive power of 10. If it was a small number, like a decimal number less than 1, then we would use a negative power of 10. So again, that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 spaces. That tells us our exponent is going to be 7, since we moved 7 spaces. And it's positive because it's a big number. Again, pause when you need to. And step 3 is we're going to finish it up. We're going to write the product of the results of step 1 and 2. So we're going to write 9.3 from step 1. We're going to write 10 from the 7th from step 2, and we're going to put it all together. We're going to cut off all those extra zeros because, again, the whole point is to make the number smaller. Okay, let me give it a try. All right, step 1, I stick it after the first non-zero digit. Step 2, I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And this is a big number, so I know I have a positive exponent. All right, so I am left with 1.47 as my factor. I moved 10 spaces, so I'm going to go with 10 to the 8th power. This one right here, I'm going to park that decimal after the first non-zero digit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 moves is what it takes. So I'm going to write my decimal part here with no extra zeros and add it times 10 to the positive 6th power. All right, what about those little decimal friends here? Okay, all right, well, my decimal's already there, but that's not the first non-zero digit. So I'm going to relocate it right there. 1, 2, 3, 4 moves. So I'm going to write 3.16 times 10 to the 4th. But then I'm going to stop and think and go, hey, this is a tiny number. This is a decimal number. So I need a negative exponent. All right, let's take a look here. I'm going to relocate my decimal to be right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 moves. So I'm left with 4.95 times 10 to the negative 5th power because it is a decimal number. And I can't forget this guy right here. The whole thing was negative in the first place. So I'm going to throw a negative sign in front of it. Okay, let's do a couple of examples in our notes. Go ahead and pause, write this down. Because it is going to be our nice, lovely, pretty example, I would like you to write it twice because we are going to garbage this thing all up. All right, let's go ahead and step one, relocate our decimal to right there. Step two, we're going to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spaces. Step three, we're going to plunk it all together. So I'm not going to forget that negative sign. So I'm left with negative 5.345. And I'm going to multiply that by 10 to the, I forgot, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 power. Boop. Okay, let's try another one. Okay, again, so nice, we're going to write it twice. Okay, all right, step one, put that decimal after the first non-zero digit. Step two, count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 4.5 times 10 to the 6th power because it's a big number. What about our little bitty decimal friends here? Again, go ahead and pause and write it twice. Okay, so I'm going to park it there and I'm going to count. 1, 2, 3. My final step is 7.2 negative, because there's a negative sign in front there, times 10 to the negative 3 power, because this is a bitty little decimal number. Write it twice. Make sure to get all the zeros. There's 6 zeros in front. Okay, I'm going to relocate my decimal point right there. And I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spaces, because it doesn't really matter if I move this way or this way. I'm just counting spaces. So I'm left with 7.07 times 10 to the negative 6 power because it's a decimal. There is one little quick and dirty trick I'd like to point out for you. As long as it is written with a 0 in front of the decimal, you can count the zeros in front. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 to the negative 6. 1, 2, 3, 10 to the negative third. But again, that trick only works if you have a 0 in front of the decimal. So it's just a little tasty trick for you. All right, well, when you return tomorrow, I will have some really awesome math for you to try to make sure you can master this skill. All right, get a good night's sleep, and I will see you in class tomorrow. Bye.